the biggest insight that I've had is that success creates a rut, right? In a lot of cases, what you become successful at kind of traps you. Overworking is the ultimate form of laziness. If the best performances, the best sports on planet Earth are timed, why can't you operate with that level of performance precision in every single minute of your day? When you become the person that others want to learn from, you become a role model. You become the teacher. And when you graduate to the teacher level in any skill, you then have to, instead of banking on, your next big thing that you do in your life or your business, I need to learn something new in order to do this thing. You transition to, welcome to another episode of the Bill Hauser podcast. Been a crazy couple of weeks. Yeah, so we had a big company event in Arizona, Phoenix. Crazy story. So when I was flying down, the day before I was flying to Phoenix, I had a stem cell consultation with a clinic down in Arizona. And I was looking at all these different stem cell clinics to get stem cell treatment on my good old knees from years of high impact sports. And I found this top clinic in the United States that does the highest level of stem cell treatment. And I ended up somehow, some way, even though they're typically booked out like way far in advance, it's like 3 to 4 months to even get an appointment there. I luckily got in with 1 day's notice because I told the doctor, that I was flying to Arizona tomorrow and could he squeeze me in, and he could. So, this is about 2 weeks ago now that I had stem cells injected in both my knees, 50 million stem cells and 75 billion exosomes in each of my knees, and it has been an unbelievable experience. I can literally feel the tissue rebuilding in my knee. The symptoms I had in my knee previously have basically evaporated, and already in just 2 weeks have pretty much completely gone away. And this is only the first 2 weeks. The tissue building doesn't really peak until 3 to 6 months after stem cell treatment. So yeah, that's what happened. So I literally got off the flight to Arizona, immediately went from the airport with my wife, my baby, and an Uber, and we went directly from the airport to the stem cell clinic. Got stem cells in. Then we Ubered from the stem cell clinic to James Helm's house, who is the founder of Top Dog Law, which is one of probably the fastest growing law firm in the United States. And so hung out at his house in Arizona for 2 or 3 hours or so. He is an intense pickleball player. Him and Ethan Ostroff were there. And I was watching them aggressively play pickleball together. Meanwhile, I jumped in James's 37-degree cold plunge in his backyard, which I'd only done like 50-degree to 45-degree cold plunges before, and I gotta say 37 degrees was like freaking death. Like I thought every limb on my body was gonna like fall off. It was freaking crazy how cold 37 degrees is for the human body. Obviously felt amazing afterwards when the endorphins and dopamine rushes into your body after you do something like that. So then I leave James's house. Then we go to the venue, Wild Horse Pass, which is like this really big, beautiful resort in Arizona. Hundreds of our clients flew in for our quarterly coaching workshop. So we had hundreds of our clients there. And then we held a 2-day, actually 2.5-day workshop with hundreds and hundreds of our clients, and just unbelievable time. As soon as that ended, then we immediately hopped on a plane and flew to Costa Rica. And then we were in Costa Rica for a week, which was last week, and really, really hot. I found out after the fact April is the hottest month in all of Costa Rica. So the heat index, like every single day, was 101 to 105, and we're talking like tropical rainforest heat, so very humid, and you can't escape the heat. 2 p.m., it's like a wall of heat hitting your face. And very grateful that we got to bring my little daughter on some exciting trips. Brought her to a wilderness zoo called Ponderosa Adventure Park, where she was literally able to pet a giraffe that like 15 giraffes, because we went on a weekday and there was like nobody at this place. Like literally 15 giraffes surround us in a safari vehicle. We bought like 10 bags of carrots, and these giraffes eat carrots right out of your hands. And I was kind of scared at one moment. I thought like one of the giraffes were going to eat Cammy, because they like were coming 1 inch from our freaking faces. And one of them exhaled so hard on Cammy that she had this little safari hat on, and it blew off of her head. So like, yeah, we had to start kind of caressing her and holding her a little closer once the giraffes got that close. So she got to feed giraffes. She got to touch a giraffe. She got to feed some zebras, and some bulls, actually, really big, like the longhorn type bulls. Yeah, so it was a amazing time. We got Cammy to kind of start taking some of her first steps, and she stood on her own. So a lot of milestones. So bottom line, it's been a back to back kind of last 2 weeks. And I think like one of the biggest insights that I had recently, as I've had like some time to reflect and be away from work, is just the power of limiting beliefs. Whenever I have time to reflect, I'm able to just realize how many things I still don't believe in myself, and things that hold me back and that prevent me from taking action to my full potential. And it's almost like I can't escape it. But I think that being aware of the fact that you have limiting beliefs is step one. It's impossible to improve what you're not aware of. The biggest insight that I've had is that success creates a rut, right? In a lot of cases, what you become successful at kind of traps you. So I'll give you a quick stupid like example. Let's say that someone plops you in the center of the African savannah, right? And a lion chases you 15 minutes after you're plopped into the African savannah, right? And when the lion chases you, you find this little path, you find this brick wall, right? Which is like, in the middle of the Sahara, and, on the outskirts of a town. This lion chases you, you run straight, you run around this wall, and you run in there, you hide from the lion, and the lion sprints away, right? Now, why am I sharing this story? Because success forms ruts. You were successful in outrunning the lion. You were successful in hiding from the lion, right? So day 2, let's say you're walking through the same part of the African Sahara, and a lion chases you again, and you're in the same spot, right? Where are you going to run to? Well, you're probably going to do the same exact thing you did yesterday because it worked, right? And what happens is sometimes when we find things in our life that work, we stop questioning them. We stop finding better ways to do things, right? And this happens in your health. It happens in your business. It happens in your relationships. Complacency is really the enemy, right? Because once you start getting good at something, there's less incentive to improve, right? Because you're already doing it pretty good, right? So for me, one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I personally had is around expanding my business to other industries. I've just always thought that deep down, maybe what we've done works for lawyers, but it'll never work for another industry. And and this has just been a constant monologue in my head, whether true or false, doesn't matter. It's been running through my head for the last like 3-4 years. Just this limiting belief that we can't do it in other industries. Maybe there's a little bit of imposter syndrome in it, or feeling like we got lucky, or whatever. These are all inappropriate thoughts, and they're not founded in truth. But what's interesting is thoughts like this have actually limited my decisions and my actions for 4 years. They prevented me from taking actions I otherwise would have, right? So I look at this in my health as well. Recently I've made a unbelievable amount of optimizations to my health. One of which is really getting off of all stimulants. I very much thrived on, things like multiple cups of coffee a day. There was a point in time in my life where I was prescribed Adderall, and I never really took more than 5 milligrams a day of Adderall. But I've experimented with a lot of stimulants, in my life to try and maintain mental focus. It's also very common in American society to experiment with stimulants, especially with how mentally demanding some jobs are, in a knowledge society. And for me, I had this good little routine going with my usage of stimulants throughout a weekly basis on a micro level. And I got into a rut. I got into a routine. So for years of my life, I didn't really question any of my usage of stimulants, right? Until I started educating myself on new ways of doing things. And I found this whole new supplement stack that has now replaced my need for any stimulants at all. I don't need stimulants because of my new supplement stack. So, yeah, I'll kind of break down some of this, but one of the biggest things I learned recently is that if you oxygenate your body, then you don't need stimulants. If your cells have twice the oxygen going through them, you don't need stimulants. Your body will operate twice as effectively if you have twice the oxygen going through your body. So I started this kind of research on how do I better oxygenate my body, right? Combination of doing deep breathing, right? Deep breaths through your nose, out through the mouth, doing that at least 30 times a day. Obviously grounding is a very important oxygenation, vitality ritual. But most importantly is hydration and supplements, right? So molecular hydrogen has had a huge impact on my life, taking 2 to 3 of those 5 days a week and then cycling 2 days off. Merging that with CoQ10, otherwise known as ubiquinol, and multiple other supplements and hacks that I've done. My point in sharing this is not to go through all like my supplement rituals, but it taught me that I was in a rut and I didn't even know it. And that's because I felt good enough every day to not question what I was doing throughout the day, right? So, also, I stopped drinking. I haven't drank one sip of alcohol in probably like 3 months now. Not even one sip. We just had our workshop with hundreds of clients. I don't think one workshop I've ever done in the last 4 years since we started doing these workshops, I haven't had a drink of alcohol at. Now, I'm not a heavy drinker. I would have 1 to 2 old fashions, a week. So you're talking like a Friday night and a Saturday night, 1 drink, 2 nights a week. That was like my routine for a while. Then that went down to 1 drink a week, from 2 drinks a week, to one day, once I found out all these new supplementation rituals and I changed a little bit about my fitness routines, I just realized there's no need to drink. I don't need to. When I'm naturally relaxed and I naturally have a bunch of dopamine going through my brain and oxygen going through my cells, I don't have to drink anymore. I don't even need to have 1 drink just to take the edge off. And that was another, rut that I didn't even know that I was in. Stimulants was another thing. There was a time when I was drinking like 4 cups of coffee a day. And I thought that that was the only way that I would maintain mental focus is through, caffeine. There was a time period where I took, again, Adderall for, we're talking, I mean, years of my life, to a point where, like, when I started SMB team, I thought it was like, I actually had like and we're talking like 5 milligrams a day, so it's not a lot, but you know, there was a point where if you would have told me, will I ever get off this stuff? Like, I would have told you, like, absolutely no, there's no way in hell I will ever get off this, right? Because it was working for me. And now I can tell you, I found a much better way, and it would be stupid for me to go back. It'd be stupid for me to, do what I was doing before. But it's so interesting that at the time, when I was addicted to stimulants, not addicted, but using more stimulants than I needed to, I thought that was the only way, right? And so I've just had to do a lot of confronting, my what about my belief system is causing my current actions or inactions in my life, in my health, in my business, in my progress as a business owner, as a husband. There used to be a belief that in order for me to have identity or like self-worth, I had to work like, 12 to 16 hours a day. That was just a belief that I had, right? Until I realized that overworking is the ultimate form of laziness, right? It's laziness in prioritization. It's laziness in delegation. It's laziness in efficiency per minute of time, right? If you have to work 12 hours a day, it probably means you're being really inefficient, right? Why does it take you 12 hours to do what someone else could do in 8 hours, right? It's just sloppiness, right? It's if you gave, but and I always say this, like, if you look at sports competitions, all sports are timed, right? There's no sport that you can find that has an unlimited timer, right? You can just win the game whenever you guys stop playing, right? So there's always some finish line in the most popular sports, right? So, imagine if the game of football was played with an unlimited timer, right? Would it be as exciting? No. It's 60 minutes. It's a 60-minute game, right? 15 minutes per quarter. So think about that. If the best performances, the best sports on planet Earth are timed, why can't you operate with that level of performance precision in every single minute of your day, right? So I used to have a belief that my self-worth is gained from how many hours I work per day, right? Now, on average, I'm working, I don't know, maybe 8:50 a.m. to maybe like 5:30 to 6 p.m. like on average, like, because I typically do a little bit of work when I get home. Call it like an extra 30 minutes. So you're talking like what, if we did talking like 9 hours a day compared to someone who used to work 16 hours a day. And I've seen no dip in results. My company did not crash and burn. And I'm able to be there for my wife. I'm able to be there for my child. I'm able to be there for my team. I'm able to be more productive. And that was a deep-seated belief that you would have asked me 5 years ago, would I ever change that belief? Would there ever be another way? No. I work harder than anyone else is what I would have said, right? And, it's unfortunate some people don't realize that, there's a way to work efficiently at just as much as there's a way to work long hours. And as soon as I changed my belief around like working long hours is a form of laziness, right? Now my belief system changed. So I'm just kind of riffing on like a lot of different things I once had a belief about that now I'm operating in a completely different paradigm about. So having time away from business is a time for you to reflect on what beliefs you have, what beliefs you don't have that are causing your actions or inaction in any area of your life. I always think time away is a really great time to ask yourself, what are those beliefs? And what's interesting is, like, as someone who's read like hundreds of business books, the more and more I learn, the more I learn, I need to unlearn. I'll say that again. The more and more I learn, the more I learn, I need to unlearn, right? And this is because like learning gets you started, right? When you get started on something new that you want to master, you have to become a learning machine. You have to read every book on it. You have to experiment on 100,000 different ways of doing things. And then at some point in time, you transition to the person that others want to learn from, right? So you start out as a learner and you become the person that others want to learn from, right? And when you become the person that others want to learn from, you become a role model. You become the teacher, right? And when you graduate to the teacher level in any skill, you then have to, instead of banking on, your next big thing that you do in your life or your business, I need to learn something new in order to do this thing. You transition to, I need to invent my own way of doing this thing because I am now an expert at this thing. Instead of reading another article or another book on it, I need to go out and pioneer and create a new way because now I am the expert at this thing, right? And that's a hard transition for me to make and for others to make, because you never really know if you've truly mastered something and where you're at. And some things maybe you've mastered and other things maybe you haven't mastered in your life, right? So it's always a spectrum. But certainly for me, I'm at a point of unlearning right now, and I'm at a point of becoming aware of the ultimate power, which is my belief systems. The ultimate power behind, once you've learned enough to be good at what you do, then it's all a belief battle, right? And we don't have a shortage of know-how, right? There's millions and millions and millions of YouTube videos on any conceivable topic you could ever imagine. There's millions and millions and millions of books on any conceivable topic you could imagine, right? The information is there. So you've got to ask yourself, if the information exists, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing what you want to do in your life? Why aren't you getting the results that you want to be getting? If the information exists, it must be a belief problem, because it certainly isn't an information problem, right? So what don't you believe about yourself, about your capabilities, about your full potential? What don't you believe that's causing you to not take action on this information, right? So, I mean, I always use fitness as an example in this. It's like, how many people know how to lose weight? 100% of humans. Eat less, move more. How many people take action on that knowledge? 1% of people. So 99% of people know how to get in shape. Only 1% of people take action on that information, right? 99% of people know how to make money. Only 1% of people actually go out and practice it, right? 99% of people know how to do anything that they want to accomplish in their life. 1% of people actually go out and accomplish it, right? So why is this so imbalanced? I mean, if this is a seesaw, you'd have 99 people on one side and you'd have this one champion on the other side of the seesaw, right? And I truly believe it's belief systems, right? And for me, my belief system is first going to be a reflection of who I spend time with. Then it's going to become a reflection of what I take action on, right? So if I only spend time with people who have my same belief system around things, right? If I spend time with people who, I'll give you an example, complain about not making enough money, if I hang out with 4 people who do that, who complain about that, then I'm going to be the 5th person complaining about not having enough money, right? If I hang out with 4 people that have bad marriages, I'm going to become the 5th person complaining about a bad marriage. If I hang out with 4 people who are overweight, I'm going to be probably the 5th person that's overweight. If I hang out with 4 people who are, not happy with their jobs and bitch and moan and complain about it, I'm going to be the 5th person that's not happy with my job, right? So by changing our inputs, by changing who we surround ourselves with, I don't think there's any psychological trigger that's more powerful than your social group. I always use this example. If a human being was locked in a padded room, right, for the first 20 years of their life. So imagine you. Well, no, don't imagine you. Imagine, someone you love, right, was born in a white padded room. No human engagement. Food was delivered to them, right? Water was delivered to them, no human engagement. And then they were taken out of that room at age 20. Would that person know how to talk? Would that person know like the language of English? You know? No. Most of what we learn is by who we surround ourselves with, what behavior we model, what behavior we observe, right? And one way that people have tried to encapsulate the way of behavior is in books, right? Like autobiographies, biographies, and how-to books, right? Like people have tried really hard to take someone's belief system or their own belief system and transmit it through a book, right? And that is like step one of who you spend time with, right? If I read Andrew Carnegie's biography every single night, technically I'm spending a little bit of time with Andrew Carnegie every single night, right? But how valuable is that, spending time with an inanimate object and words on a page, than it is spending time with someone who's actually making a few $billion a year, right? Face to face, connecting with them, talking with them on the phone, talking with them on Zoom, right? I mean, it's just a whole different level of belief optimization, right? So if I don't spend time with people like that, then I don't deserve to expand my belief system around what I'm capable of building in business, right? If I only spend time with, people that think what I'm doing is some spectacular thing, which it's freaking nothing. Like what I'm doing in my business, okay, there's other companies that have 200,000 employees, 1 million employees, right? That are making, 500 times the impact of what my company is doing, right? So for me to, only surround myself with people who pat me on the back and say, "Oh, we're so proud of Bill. He built this company," blah, 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 blah. That's like cancerous to me, right? Because I believe I'm capable of more. I believe I'm capable of helping my team more, helping our clients more, advancing everyone in this company more, advancing our impact and advancing everything we're doing. So if I don't spend time with people who have already done more than I do or have done, then I'm letting everyone in my surroundings down. I'm letting everyone down because my belief system is going to stay the same, right? So the only way we upgrade our belief systems is who we surround ourselves with. And then the second part of it is the actions that we take, right? Our actions that we take on a weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly basis are votes towards the person that we want to become, right? So if I say I want to be in the best shape of my life and I skip the gym for 5 months in a row, what's going to win? What I said or what I did, right? Well, what you did is going to win because your brain is a detector. Your belief system is a detector of what you do, not what you say, right? How much time do you like spending? Put yourself in this situation. How much time do you like spending with someone who keeps telling you the amazing things they're going to do in their life, the business they're going to one day build, the thing they're going to one day, that never takes any action? How much time do you like spending with people like that? I know for me, I absolutely hate it. I can't spend time with people who have a bigger mouth than they do their ability to take action on the things they said. I just can't. I can't be around it. It was a decision I made a long time ago. I was grateful to hang out with some, pretty imaginative people that had these big business ideas for themselves and never took action on them. Great, fun, entertaining, imaginative people. But at this phase of my life, I can't suscept myself to that when I'm taking too much action on the things that I currently want to accomplish, right? So how do we surround ourselves with people that expand our belief system, and how do we take bigger and bigger and bigger actions every single week that crush what we did last week, that show us, holy crap, I'm bigger than this, I'm better than this, I can do more than this, right? So I always want to be up-leveling who I'm spending time with and the level of actions that I'm taking. And, I'm able to reflect on this on the trip because I'm thinking to myself, like, how many areas of my life have my actions flatlined? How many areas of my life am I taking the same actions this month as what I did last month, right? And in direct proportion to that, like, this is where innovation comes from. You got to do something new in some point of some part of what you do throughout the week. You got to do something new to then create a snowball effect, right? And then you got to do something new the next week to build on that one thing. And eventually, 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now, you've completely innovated what you do. You're looking at it from a completely different lens. You're having 5 times the impact, right? And that is fulfilling. Progress is the ultimate motivator. Yeah. So we went to we had our time in Costa Rica. We came back, and I come back to the office, and I'm like, holy crap! This belief, these series of beliefs that have been holding me back. It's time to confront them. It's time to really spend some time with them. So what I did was I kind of ramped up my time spent meditating in my morning routine. So my current morning routine is I kind of read through what I do. So I wake up at 5 a.m. No social media, so I don't allow myself to scroll social media in the morning. I smile. I do a couple of deep breaths. I put on my workout clothes. I drink 1 liter of water, electrolytes, molecular hydrogen, and then I leave for the gym. 5:30 a.m. 5:45 is my exercise time. Then I preset my workout routine for the week based on what I'm doing that week. I have all my different workout things for dirt biking, cardio, high intensity, max heart rate intervals, blah, blah, blah. So then I get back from the gym. I have a very specific kind of breakfast that I make, farm raised eggs, avocado, what do they call it? Sprouts, the little sprouts that I sprinkle on the omelet, blueberries, and I kind of put this all together. Then I have all my supplements, which is like 1,000,001 supplements. It's probably like 30 supplements. Yeah, maybe I will go through the list just to show you the thing. Let me see if I have it here. Supplements. Yeah, so molecular hydrogen when I wake up, CoQ10 and potassium when I wake up, plus an electrolyte packet. Then before my high heart rate zone days, I have alpha GPC, L-tyrosine, taurine, beetroot extract. And once I'm done working out, I take 5 grams of creatine. I have a little bit of whey protein. Then with breakfast, I take acetyl L-carnitine, cordyceps, taurine, DHA, vitamin B complex with ginseng, ginkgo biloba, vitamin D3, vitamin K2, a multivitamin, cinnamon, turmeric. Then I have nootropics that I take, alpha brain, lion's mane. Then I take anti-inflammatory green tea extract, and then calcium, magnesium, phosphorus. And I do that like every single day, right? So once I do that, then where's my next thing? Yeah, so then I do my mental prep ritual, which is meditation. So this leads into what I was doing. So because I identified some of these belief system things, I've kind of extended my meditation a little bit more. And every morning I'm doing like closer to 20 minutes of meditation, where I really just sit and, my approach to meditation has always been like just being aware of my thoughts and allowing them to allowing myself to be detached from them, not resist them. So I do that. I have a body scan that I do. I do a couple deep breaths and monitoring my breathing, a little bit of sound awareness. But then I go into my belief awareness, where I ask myself, like, what is it that I'm believing that's either limiting or propelling my actions, right? And I just allow whatever pops up to pop up. And if you ask yourself this question, um, it's freaking crazy, man. The things that you'll be able to quickly identify that you didn't even know that you were believing or carrying with yourself. But you have to have the humility to let yourself just have those thoughts pop up and not judge them and just let them be. This is all just about growing and progress. So for me, the meditation ritual, adding that little bit of an extra time for me to inspect my beliefs is really, really cleansing. There's this other thing I've learned, which is called like problem labels. So like, you know, most times if I ever feel anxious about something, it means I'm labeling something as a problem, right? And if you remove the label of anything being a problem, your anxiety will immediately go away from it, right? So if instead of you labeling something as a problem, you label it as an opportunity, or you label it as something you're grateful for, right? Or you don't label it at all, right? Instead of, don't even label it at all. Then you will immediately feel less of those heavy emotions tied to this thing that you're labeling as a problem. And I've noticed for myself, like almost all negative emotions stem from you believing the thing you're thinking about is a problem. All negative emotions, whether they're depression, anxiety emotions, resentment, negativity, anger, whatever the emotions are, they are accompanied by a thought, whether you want to admit it or not. There's no such thing as an absent emotion. You can have rogue emotions every now and then that aren't accompanied by a thought, but I'd say like 95% of emotions are going to be accompanied by a thought. And that thought and that emotion balance is what keeps that negative emotion in you. And by being able to detach yourself from the thing you're thinking and how that's making you feel and stop labeling it as a problem and accept, hey, thank you, body, thank you, mind, for thinking this thought. Thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for trying to save me, right? By doing that, you're able to have power over your thoughts and not have your thoughts control your emotional state. And I never want to change my thoughts. I want to become detached from the outcome of my thoughts, right? That's what has been the number one thing. So that's a tangent, but the point that I'm trying to make is that like to really be able to identify your beliefs, I find it mission critical that you have to give yourself time and space to reflect on what it is that you're believing that's holding you back and that's propelling you. And the ones that are holding you back or causing negative emotions, are you labeling them as problems, and are they actually problems, right? Another great question I like to ask is, how much value is this thought? If it's a negative thought, how much value is this thought providing me? Do I want to continue investing time in this thought, right? Is this thought, if I spend 10 minutes focused on this thought, what specific positive outcomes can I expect to come from it? And if your answer is none, right? A lot of what if thoughts are not productive, right? What if this happens? What if this doesn't go right? What if that? You're setting yourself up for failure when you ask yourself negative what if thoughts, right? So instead, just kill your attachment to the thought. Who cares? It's just a thought. It's not real, right? If it was real, you would have taken action on it. So that has been like mission critical for me. And yeah, so I guess like today, I just want to give a little bit of update, but also talk about the importance of identifying those belief systems that silently run through your mind, your body, your beliefs every single day, and to be vulnerable with yourself and understand that any belief can be challenged and replaced with a more healthy and productive action. And the first step is awareness. The first step is being aware of what it is you're believing and thinking. So I hope you got value from this episode. This has been a really important kind of reflection point for me. I hope you can find your own kind of story within it to optimize your beliefs in your own life to therefore optimize your actions and get better results from what you're currently doing, faster and with less energy and less complexity. So I'll see you in the next one, and go challenge those beliefs. If you found value in this podcast, here's one way I can help your firm right now. First, you can get our new book, Law Firm Growth Accelerator. It's everything we've learned over 10 plus years helping lawyers build thriving, profitable firms. The strategies that you'll get in this book work for any practice area and any revenue level. You can get the audiobook and ebook 100% free, or just cover the shipping and we'll send you the physical copy to you in addition to the audio and ebook. Go to smbteam.com/book to get your copy.